Good evening and welcome to your virtual orientation for March 2023. My name is Chris Mumford. I'm the Director of Student Experience here at Torrens University. And over the next half an hour or so, we will take you through everything you need to know about the orientation session for your upcoming studies with Torrens. Before we begin this evening, we acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which we meet today and pay our respects to elders past, present, and emerging. Okay, so the aim of the session today is simply to introduce you to everything you need to know to get the best possible start to your studies on Monday. We will cover a variety of topics and introduce you to the specific channels for help and support throughout your journey with us at Torrens University. So let's look at some of those channels. If you are in the process of finalising your enrolment, which many of you may still be doing, there's plenty of time to do that. And if you have any questions relating to that enrolment, the best place to start is the INT admissions inbox that you see there. You don't need to worry about writing down all these addresses and contact channels. The presentation will be available on the Student Hub for you to download at the end of this session. If your query relates to subject selection, you'll see there the Help Me Enroll inbox is the best place to start. And finally, if you have a question relating to fees, you can contact our student finance team using that email address. So here at Torrens University, we have four main channels of support. Live chat and the phone number you see there are both open 24 hours a day. So you'll be able to contact one of our members of staff at any point of the day or night using those channels. You can also send us an email, and when you do arrive in Australia, or if you are already in Australia, you can book a session with one of our student support advisors at any of our campus locations, and we'll touch on those campuses very shortly. So the running order for this evening's session, we will take a look at the terms of the return to compliance. So that is the legislation here in Australia that covers international students and their responsibilities to us and our responsibilities to those students. We'll also look at our campuses and then take a quick look at timetables and subject selection. We'll also take a look at your digital systems so that you have an understanding of the systems that you will use to study with us here at Torrens. And finally, we'll cover again the student support channels that are open to you to make sure you get all the help you need during your studies. So the Australian government has recently announced that from the 30th of June 2023, any international students holding a student visa will be required to return to on-campus study. What that means is at least one face-to-face subject per study period, and no more than 1/3 of your subjects can be studied online in any one study period. Also important for you to note, the maximum number of hours per fortnight you're allowed to work is now 48. Previously that had been unlimited, but from the 30th of June, that will return to 48 hours per fortnight of work that you're allowed to conduct on your student visa. Okay, let's have a look at the campuses that you will be studying at when you arrive in Australia to study with Torrens University. If you are based in Sydney, we have two main campuses there. Ultimo is our design campus, and then Surrey Hills will be home to students in health, business, and hospitality. They're both centrally located in the heart of Sydney, and each have excellent access to public transport, so finding your way there and home will not be a problem. For students in Melbourne, we have one main campus which serves all of our faculties. That is opposite Flinders Street Station. Again, very easy to find and to navigate to and from. If you are a health student, you may well find that you spend some of your time at the Practice Wellbeing Centre in Fitzroy. It's a short tram stop from Flinders Street and very easy to navigate to and from, as with all of our campuses. Up in Brisbane in Queensland, we have our business and design students at the Bowen Terrace campus, with our health and nursing students located in Gotha Street, which again is fairly central to Brisbane, excellent views of the river, and very close to the public transport and bars and restaurants in that part of the city. And then finally, we have Adelaide, So again, 2 campuses. For our students in hospitality and anybody studying at the Blue Mountains International Hotel Management School, your campus will be in Pulteney Street in Wakefield, and the remaining students will be based at our Wakefield campus. Both are extremely close to local bus routes, and you will find every amenity you need within very close proximity to those campuses. Okay, some of the questions that relate to those campuses and to study with Torrens. You can have your student ID card handed to you on campus if you're able to get to one of our campuses. If you cannot, you do have the option to send your photo to our student support team. The email address will be at the back of this presentation, and your card can be prepared to either be mailed to you or for you to collect when you do arrive in Australia. Can I get help in person? Well, the obvious answer is yes. If you were to attend any of our campus locations or call those student support numbers that I went through earlier, you will find anyone that can help you with your enrollment, with your studies, or certainly point you in the right direction with any other concerns that you might have. And in terms of the facilities available on campus, we have those student support functions. Each of our campuses has an international student wellbeing coordinator, and they are extremely knowledgeable about not just how to settle in Australia, but also the legislation that applies to you as an international student on a visa. They can also help you with things like finding a place to live, the best place to source employment, Opal cards, transport, and so on, to make sure that you settle as quickly as possible in Australia. You'll also find counsellors available at each campus, and all of your academic staff will be available to you at those campuses if you need some extra assistance with your studies. Finally, what hours does the campus open? So each of our campuses open from around 7:30 a.m. and remain open until the end of the evening classes, which is normally around 8 p.m. They are also open on Saturday mornings from around 9 till 1 o'clock. And as I mentioned, you can also get 24-hour student support through our phone and live chat outside of those campus opening hours. Timetable. So the most important part about university is obviously the classes and studying those. So here's a brief guide as to what your timetable might look like during this first trimester of study. Each subject requires around 20 hours per week of study. So 10 hours of that is normally in the form of directed classes or lectures, with the other 10 hours down to you, essentially to self-direct your learning, to do your research, your reading, and to prepare yourself for each of those classes and for any assessments that may come. The first assessment is usually due in week 3 or 4 of trimester. And if you are in a subject that does have exams, some of the health subjects and also some of our financial accounting subjects may carry exams. They will traditionally be in week 12 of term. So you have plenty of time to prepare for them, and you'll get plenty of notice as to when and where they will be held. Now, many of you may already have selected subjects, but if you haven't, the best place to start that process is through the Student Hub. From there, you'll be able to find the subject selection portal, and it will look very similar to what you see on the left there. Key things to note when you are selecting your subjects: each course has a specific number of core units and a pool of electives that you can choose, and essentially they will help you to shape the course to your interest and to your career aspirations. So take great care to look at those core units and understand which electives will map against your course and which ones will give you the best opportunity to use this course for the career aspirations that you may have. Now, some of your courses, particularly in health, will also carry prerequisites. That means that you have to study a certain subject and complete and pass that subject before you can move on to another subject in that study plan. To get a better idea of how to navigate through that, we would refer you to the course architecture documents, which are contained within the Student Hub. Alternatively, you can speak to one of our success coaches, who would be a really good place to start in terms of guiding you through how to pick subjects, which subjects, and in which order. There are also some how-to videos that are carried on the Student Hub, which again explain the best way to approach subject selection, and how to get the most out of those core units and electives. A final note there is around your financial liability date. So if you are an international student selecting subjects within 14 days of the trimester start date, you become financially liable for those subjects. So that means any referrals to withdraw or defer after that 14-day window mean that you are still financially liable for the subjects that you choose. And it's really important that you're aware of those dates and that you select your subjects knowing that they are the right subjects, because you will become liable for them. Some frequently asked questions around this. Do I select subjects per study period or per year? So here at Torrens University, we operate on a trimester model, and each trimester you will be invited to select your subjects. It traditionally opens 8 weeks before the trimester commences, and at that point you will select your subjects, between 1 and 4 subjects normally for that particular trimester, and you repeat that exercise 3 times a year. We also have 3 intensive intakes which are between those main trimesters, and if you're looking to pick up an extra subject to complete your course in a shorter duration, you are also welcome to look at the subjects available in those intakes and select a subject for that period as well. How do I know what subjects to choose is the main question. As I mentioned, that is something you'll need to refer to the course architecture guide really carefully for, but also speak to your lecturers and speak to your success coach. They will both be made available to you, and you'll know very early on who they are. They will be able to guide you as to which are the best subjects for your interest and your career aspirations, but also depending upon which subjects you're best suited to, given your current qualifications. So definitely have that conversation with them very early, and they will give you a really good steer on which ones to choose. They can also advise you on how many subjects to choose. Now, if you are an international student, again, you do need to maintain what we term a full-time study load, which is 8 subjects. We normally advise you to pick 3 subjects in each trimester and then 2 in the final trimester of the year, so a 3-3-2 model, which you'll hear quite often. However, you are free to take less subjects or more if you so choose. You can overload, which means taking 4 subjects. As you saw from the study load that we looked at earlier, that is quite a heavy commitment. And at this point, given that you are new to Torrens University, it's probably not something we would advise in your early trimesters. Once you have some more confidence in the subject matter and with the learning systems, by all means, consider taking more. But we would suggest that at this stage, you would start with either 1 or 2 subjects. Can I take less? Again, the answer is yes. You may actually underload, which is a single subject load, but you do need to be really cautious that if you are on a student visa, the expectation is that you'll make up those additional 7 subjects in the first year of your course to complete your 8, which is the requirement you have under your visa conditions. So let's jump into the digital systems, and we'll look at some of the main systems that you will use at Torrens, where to find them, how to navigate them, and basically what they look like and what they do. So let's start with, first of all, Blackboard. So Blackboard is your learning portal. That is where you will conduct most of your classes. That is where your collaborate sessions, which is your face-to-face class time with your lecturer, will be held. That is our main learning portal, and you'll hear it referred to as the learning portal often. And if you were to log in, this is essentially what you will see. I'll take you through a quick tour of Blackboard so you can get used to what's housed where. So depending on which course you are a student in, you will see here these courses and your trimester subjects shown. Within these, you will find the learning material. You'll also see the discussion boards and a thread to speak to your particular lecturer if you wish to engage with them and to have that conversation. So that's where you'll conduct most of your classes with Torrens University. Your materials should be available now if you've selected subjects to commence on Monday. So I'd urge you to get into Blackboard very early, have a look around, understand how it all works and where you can find things. And if you're really struggling to know where to find your materials, then please do reach out to one of our student support teams, or you can alternatively connect with your lecturer and they will be happy to guide you through. So bear with me a moment while I switch screens and we'll move through the rest of the presentation. Okay, there we go. So you'll also have the library portal, which is where you conduct most of your research. It is an extensive library, many thousands of titles there. It is free to students to use, and we'd encourage you to start your research there before you need to look externally. There are also libraries on campus that, again, are available to you as a student to use during campus opening hours. The Student Hub is where you'll find information related to the course, to the uni, and it's a good place to navigate and understand what the key dates are when you are looking to commence trimesters, when we are on trimester break. All of that information is contained within the Student Hub. Within that hub, you will also note there is a little icon at the top which links to My Hub, and that is your personalized dashboard. Within My Hub, you will find your course details, but also some of those key support channels I mentioned. So your success coach, your academic staff, and links to our library and learning live chat services. So that is where you'll find everything relating to your specific course, personalized to you. And then finally, Studiosity is a good place to start finding and connecting with your fellow students. That's the place you would go for peer-to-peer support and also for feedback on the work that you submit before you put your assignments forward. So it's a really good practice to get into, to check your assignments, to work through that, and to get that peer-to-peer support before you start to submit assignments. Okay, a few questions to summarize those learning systems and so on. When do course materials become available? They will be open to you as soon as you select subjects, given that your course begins on Monday. So once you've finished your subject selection and paid your deposit, within 24 hours, you will see those materials available to you in Blackboard for you to get an early start, to have a look at and to understand what's expected of you in this first trimester. Instructions on setting up your student email will be provided to you once you have done your completed your enrollment and paid your deposit. That is sent to your personal nominated email address, and it contains a link and instructions on how to create your student email. Throughout your time with us at Torrens University, all contact with you will normally be through your student email. So it's important that you set it up and that you actively check it for details of any announcements or any information relating to your course that is important to you. That will all come through your student email. Blackboard, we've had a quick look at. You can navigate to Blackboard through the Student Hub, through the Student Portal, or through My Hub. So they're the three easiest ways to get into Blackboard, and that you will be passing through a single sign-in window. At that point, you'll be presented with your personalized content. And the Student Hub and Student Portal, again, the links to those are contained within this presentation and available to you to access via your student email as soon as you have that with you. My Hub is the personalized dashboard, as I mentioned, and that is something I'd urge you to link to make one of your favorites, and you'll see everything that you need to know about your course will appear in My Hub, including your grades as well. So that's a really good place to find out what you need and to keep an eye on and keep up to date with. Okay, we'll touch again on student support. These are the support channels that we have open to us. They are 24 hours if I've indicated they are, so that is live chat and the phone number there. If you are looking to book a session, that will be on campus and in line with those opening hours of, generally speaking, between 7:30 and 8 p.m. The email address is also monitored 24 hours, and you'll generally receive a response to those emails within the same day. Outside of the conventional student support, you also have access to a number of different support channels here at Torrens. So the counselling service is open for students who are finding it very difficult to settle, that have got some issues with how to get to grips with study, with Australia, homesickness. These are common things that our counsellors will assist you with and talk through with you. They are available during campus hours and can be booked through the Student Hub or through our student support booking system. Success coaches are there to essentially guide you through the course from an academic perspective and also operationally. So they will not only connect you with your lecturer to determine which is the best study path for you, they can also direct you towards resume writing workshops, how to find a job, but also how to get assistance with changing any details on your enrollment. So if you go to one of your success coaches and familiarize yourself with them and what they offer, they'll be a really good port of call for you throughout your study at Torrens, not just your first trimester. The SRC, our Student Representative Council, advocate for students and act in the best interest of students. They also run our social events, and you'll find them at every campus. It is the heart and soul of our campuses. You are welcome to join the SRC as well if you would like to get involved in that kind of activity. And it's a really good place to find people, to find your tribe, as it were, and to meet fellow students in a less formal setting than in the classroom. If you have any issues with accessibility, be that a disability that you have, a learning impairment, or any challenges with language, the accessibility team can point you in the right direction of the resources you need to give you the best chance to succeed at Torrens. And I would urge you to do that as early as possible so that we can give you the best opportunity to succeed from the first assessment that you submit with us. The International Student Wellbeing Counsellors and Coordinators are unique to Torrens, and they will be the people that know best how to support you outside of the classroom. So they can connect you with resources to deal with homesickness, to acclimatise, to find people in a similar position, and just to talk to if you're really finding it difficult in those first few weeks and months of study. So they're the support services you can access outside of the classroom. They can all be found on campus, and if you do need help tracking them down, start with either your success coach or our student support team, and they will take you from there. A few questions to wrap up. Is it normal to be feeling nervous? Absolutely. I have just completed my course at Torrens, and returning to study after a lengthy period of time was very nerve-wracking. But we have the best possible group of people here to support you through your course. So it's normal. The best way to stop that is to ask questions, to get the right answers, and to meet people in the same position as you. So those options, we urge you and encourage you to take them as early as you possibly can. And you'll find that once you've submitted your first assignment and got a good grade there, everything else will fall into place after that. You can watch classes on your phone. We would not necessarily suggest that you look at submitting assignments on your phone for obvious reasons, but you can certainly tune into the classes on your phone via Blackboard Collaborate. And if you can't attend a live lecture, all of those classes are recorded. So you are able to watch that lecture at a time a little more convenient to you if you have other commitments, but you do need to make sure that you attend the live classes as often as possible, because we do record attendance and it's a really good indicator of if a student is likely to succeed. If you get the live lectures and you go along to the live lectures, you can hear the feedback from your colleagues and hear things that aren't necessarily contained on the slides that are available to you. If something goes wrong, as I mentioned, we have an awful lot of people that will help you putting it right. So don't be afraid to ask if something doesn't look right with your learning portal, if you're struggling to get access to your materials, or if you're not sure if you're doing the right things in terms of subject selection, please do reach out to us and somebody will help you almost instantly to get that fixed and to make sure that you are ready to go, because we want you to succeed here at Torrens University. Some final steps. So once you have navigated onto the Student Hub, what you will find there is a Meet Your Academic session that is specific to your personal course. Definitely find that link, have a watch, because the academic in that session will introduce themselves to you. They will also tell you a little bit more about the subject that you're studying and the architecture of the course. And they're two things that, as we mentioned, are really critical to succeeding. So within that Meet Your Academic session, they're about an hour or an hour and a half, and that's your onboarding, if you like, into that particular subject. You can find out what to expect in your first day, and also take a look at Blackboard and take a look at those learning materials to make sure that what you have in front of you is what you should have, and that you've got everything you need to succeed. So that brings us to the end of your first orientation session here. This session will be available on the Student Hub along with all of those support channels. So if you do need further assistance, please do reach out to one of those teams and they'll be happy to support you. If you are watching this online and not yet on campus, then you will have access to those 24-hour support channels until such time as you do make it across to Australia. And we look forward to seeing you when you do arrive at Torrens University. Thank you for joining us, and we wish you every success in your course with us here at Torrens.